And we are live on YouTube. Hello, welcome to X Connections Live. I'm your host, James Lott Jr., and I love connecting with people. And I always say people, places, and things, but he's not a place or a thing. He's a person. So I connect with a person. I'm so excited to have him. So now I don't know him, not really. We know some people in common. We know a person in common in particular. We'll talk about it in a second. But him on YouTube, I was trying to figure out what adjective I was trying to what as about him, and literally the adjective came to mind was refreshing. He is refreshing. Yes,
that's so kind. I appreciate you.
I have the hugest man crush on him. I'll tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why when we get into this section. But he is on TikTok, folks. So am I. I thought I was a TikTok star, not compared to him, who has over 4.6 million likes, people. He beats my 1.1, or no, my 3.2. He beats me, but I see why. His RuPaul Drag Race, oh my God, videos. Give me life, give me life, give me life all the time. But it was a video called A Lesson in Secure Masculinity that actually spoke to me in many ways. And I want to talk to him about what a great ally he is to, as he calls it, the Alphabet Mafia, which I'd never heard that before. We're going to talk about that. And I love that video. And that made me go, I need him on my show pronto. He was a sports journalist. He has 2 books out, an author, and he's engaged to Shawnee Q. We love her. And he has 2 podcasts. One with my friend Josh Rodriguez called New Pod on the Block. And the Hopeful Romantic is something he does too. He talks about dating advice. My new friend and my straight boyfriend, Mike Zacchio.
Mike, you said my name right. Look at that. I appreciate you.
Well, you're welcome. I try to do good. At least you know the person's name, at least pronounce it correctly, at very least.
Before we dive in, thank you so much for having me on. I greatly appreciate, and for obviously all the kind words. I'm blushing, which I don't know if you can tell under the lights or the camera or whatever.
You are a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I was like, okay, I love him, but what is the word I'm trying to get? It's like, you're very much you. I get that about me all the time. You're very James Lott Jr. No, and I would say, what does the F that mean? No, but now I get it. I see people like you. I go, he's very Mike Zacchio. He's himself.
Thank you.
All warts and all, which to me is refreshing on social media because of how everybody shows their best lives and tries to put a shield up there, and then we find out later they're really destroyed inside. So I kind of like seeing your stuff. When you got onto social media, I mean, you probably like the rest of us, and it's evolved. What is social media to you today? What is it for you?
That's a phenomenal question. I like to think it's entertainment. Like TikTok for me is 100% entertainment. Like I feel like my most true authentic self on TikTok, but for some reason I can't break through that on Instagram. Like Instagram, I am very, like you were just describing, like I'm very like kind of like sheltered, and it's very like curated content. Like I'm very aware of what I'm posting, and I'm very hypersensitive about like the likes and what people are thinking about it, whatever. Whereas TikTok, like for some reason, I just don't care. Like I can confidently post a RuPaul's Drag Race reaction video and not really care how it's received, whether it gets 1,000 views or 10,000 views or 100,000 views. Like it's just, and I don't know what the disconnect is there. I think it's because Instagram are people that like I know me in real life.
Oh yeah.
And TikTok, like I don't know how many people who follow me like know me in real life, but I would imagine it's a handful.
Yeah, I guess that's true, because TikTok, I was like, who are these people? Why are they liking my stuff? Where do they come from? It's kind of weird where Instagram, you kind of know where they come from because you have to choose to follow you. They got to choose to follow you and follow. It's kind of like it's almost kind of organic, more so than TikTok. TikTok, I guess it's organic, but it's just kind of like one video, I did 1 million. And I'm like,
the algorithm, I don't understand the algorithm of TikTok, but I definitely enjoy it more than Instagram, because I feel like Instagram, like you need to have the following that for any video to kind of take off. Whereas TikTok, like you just don't know what's going to work for you, which I kind of like in a way. So,
well, number one, you're not wearing a baseball cap today. I'm seeing.
I'm not. I'm growing my hair out a little bit.
You have hair. Yeah. What's going on here? I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, still cute. But I was like, okay, I'm like, it's fine. It's like he's not wearing the signature stuff I see in all his videos all the time.
I can get the hat if you like.
Fine, that's fine. I want you to be you. I want you to be you. Everybody in chat room, hello. People are coming in. Hello, you guys. Hi.
Hey, everyone.
Okay. So I'm actually going to start off hard with that video, the lesson in secure masculinity video. I'm actually wearing the shirt in support of the folks against Joss Whedon. I'm wearing the shirt.
Okay.
Most of them have come out now about it, about how he was very toxic on set. Love Buffy, my favorite shows of all time. But they've all coming out today about him, and so I'm wearing the shirt in solidarity. So my first question to ask you, because I ask this with a lot of men these days, is I'm a generation or so above you. I'll be 52 in a few months. So, I mean, I'm a little older.
You look phenomenal for 52, because I would not have guessed 52.
Thank you. Lots of water and sleeping backwards. No, I know, I was going to say, so what does being a man, what does that mean to you? Like, what does that mean? Because I try to figure out, when I grew up, it meant something, and I'm sure when you grew up, it meant something, but what does that mean to you now as a man?
Oh God, it's such a loaded question. Like, but like just being who you are. Like if you are a man, like I don't know, if you identify as a man, you are a man. Like that, like that's how I view it. Like I some people view me as a more feminine man because I am not the like, brawn-handed, like I'm gonna sit there and climb up on a rooftop and fix, and start fixing shit. I'm also not, like I don't smoke, I don't drink outside of Twisted Tea, which some people don't view as a very manly drink.
No,
like,
tell me what Twisted Tea is, because you always maybe I know it is, but tell me what that is.
It's basically like, so for anybody who's probably more familiar with like Mike's Hard Lemonade, like how that's like a hard lemonade, it's that version basically of iced tea. I don't think it tastes like iced tea, but it has a little bit of a bite to it for me, but I have a very sensitive palate.
Yes,
but yeah,
I love that. But you're not a big drinker. That's not your big thing.
No,
you're not.
Yeah, yeah. The smell of Jameson or any kind of whiskey, like, just makes me want to gag. Like I've tried every beer and wine, just nothing. Just don't like anything.
Yeah. Now, okay, so I mean, this thing is because a lot of your videos, you talk about this, and this one video, folks, you need to see. It went viral. You guys need to see it. It's on there about you Cross Drag Race, like name checking Celine Dion. Talking about the Twisted Tea. I mean, like that's
Celine the Queen.
I mean, okay, exactly. But I'm like, you were kind of knocking down these walls of things that people would think that's gay or that's this, and you're like, and there's a lot of straight men, cisgender straight men, who are like you, who like those same things. I mean, they have no problem with that. And so what made you decide to kind of present that part of you? I mean, it's like, to the world.
So the RuPaul's Drag Race thing was just like my fiance Shannon Q got me into it, and I was like, wow, I really enjoy this. And then one day it was the season 13 premiere. I'm like, I'm just going to record a reaction video just because I know how animated I get. I'm like, and I'll just post on TikTok, and just because I told myself this year, I'm like, I want to post content I want to post on TikTok. Like I really want to just not make it scripted or whatever, just whatever I feel like posting. You're going to follow Mike Zacchio, not Mike Zacchio, the relationship guy, this guy, like you're just going to get me. And then it like exploded, and I'm like, oh, so I guess we're doing, and Shannon was like, yeah, we're doing these every week. I'm like, I guess so. Yeah. And then, some people like had commented or whatever, like, oh, are you sure he's not gay or something like that? Or, and it's something I've gotten throughout my life. Like, are you gay? Like, I'm not asking, disrespectfully or whatever. Like, I'm just asking, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm a straight guy. Like, and then I just got to thinking about all the things like that people have said that I'm gay for, like, oh, you drink Twisted Tea, like, oh, I don't know. And I know, like, I love Celine Dion. Like, I would happily go see a Celine Dion concert. And because we recently saw, oh my God, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days Again. Like, it was on TV. I think it was on before Drag Race. And like, there's the scene where like Matthew McConaughey is coming out of the Celine Dion concert, and it's just like, put a bullet in my head, like right now. And I'm like, and I get the whole purpose of it. It's like, because that's not a masculine thing. They have him in the pink shirt or whatever. But I'm like, listen, you don't need to like Celine Dion. She cannot be your cup of tea. I love Celine Dion, so I would be living my very best life there. But I just, I don't know what it was.
Were you always that kind of kid though? You're always like yourself as a kid. Or you just like, I am who I am, and that's just how it is. I mean, that's how you've been.
So, I mean, I've always liked what I've liked. Like, I loved the Spice Girls growing up. Like, begged my mom to see Spice World. And I don't like, but yeah, no, there was always like, there was part of me that like questioned for a little while. I'm like, am I bisexual? Because like I do like a lot of these feminine things, and because everyone kept saying like, oh, like if you like the Spice Girls, you got to be gay. Like, and everything I kept coming back to, I'm like, I'm just not attracted to men. Like, there's nothing wrong with being gay or bi or any part of the LGBTQIA plus community, but that like I'm a straight guy. It's just I'm a straight guy who likes the Spice Girls, who likes Celine Dion, and that's okay. Like, just as you could be a gay man who hates the Spice Girls and hates Celine Dion and doesn't like RuPaul's Drag Race.
Exactly.
And I did want to address, and I'm glad like you're giving me this platform to kind of address it, because a couple people commented, because I realized like while watching it back, like I say that there are things that I like that are not considered, that they're considered like things that like straight guys like, or that are considered like less than a man. Like, and I want to clarify, like, I do not mean that being gay makes you less of a man or anything like that. I mean that like there are things that some people consider to be gay, like that, or that make you that are more identifiable with the gay community. And there are things that people that you can like Twisted Tea, people will think that you are less of a man because of it. Like, they're two separate ideologies. But I understand like watching that back, I'm like, oh God, like they think I meant that and I didn't at all. And oh my God, I'm an asshole.
No, you are, and I did, and from that community, I didn't get that. I mean, I know what you mean, and some folks they're going to nitpick everything anyway, and that's I'm going to say I don't care, folks. I'll say that. But I think your heart was there, and I think, and that's why I liked it, because your heart was there, and I felt like you were speaking more to straight people anyway, not to gay people. Like, we get it, like we know what's going on. But I feel like you're speaking to the straight community.
I was shocked at like one that it took off the way it did, because I actually posted that video on Instagram as well, which I don't really cross pollinate my platforms. But yeah, it was very much speaking to, and then like it took off like within the gay community, and they're like, oh, like wow, like thank you for saying this. And I'm like, oh shit, I was not expecting that. Like, if it took off, I was kind of hoping that it would be like straight men like me who would be like, thank you so much for saying this, because I'm tired of people like knocking me for liking whatever it is I like, or for not liking football. Like, I don't like, I watched the Super Bowl, but like I'm not I will never join a fantasy football league. Like, I could not care less. I hate Barstool Sports. Like any of those like prototypical bro things or whatever, like I probably don't like it, and it's fine. And you can be gay and like those things, and you're still, it doesn't make you less of a gay person for liking more masculine. It's just, you are who you are, and that's what makes you who you are. So if you're a man, that's what makes you a man. If you're a woman, that makes you a woman. If you don't identify as either, then you don't identify as either. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. No, the thing, Mike, that's going on these days is that the more niche your product or your story or your message is, they're starting to get popular now. So now they're saying, pare down. So almost your video, why it kind of took off, because it was a very unique video amongst a lot of those videos. Yeah, I'm sure there's other toxic masculinity videos out there somewhere, I'm sure, but yours was from a very specific point of view. And I think that sometimes when it's narrow like that, that's when it explodes, because it's the only one out there, gets shared. Like I saw it. I knew you were because of Josh, we'll talk about in a second. But then I have friends who saw it also, and they didn't know who you were. And I was like, oh yeah, I know who he is, blah, blah. And so I think it's that kind of thing that was so narrow. It was so specific. Your message was so specific. It hit. You know what I mean?
I completely, because I've been hearing that on like to grow on TikTok, like niche down. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't see how that can, I feel like that can work once you grow, then you can niche down. But I'm like, and yeah, like for me, it was just, I wanted that message out there, whether like just because even if it didn't explode, even if people, if another video down the road exploded and they would just happen to be scrolling, like I want people to know kind of where I stand and kind of how I feel about certain things. And yeah, and then thankfully it took off, and thankfully it was for the most part well received, and I'm glad for it.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I thought it was great. Hello in the chat room. Hello, Eliza. Because also the next niche thing you do is the RuPaul's thing, and so that's very now. There's a lot of RuPaul stuff, Drag Race stuff out there. Everybody who does they do the recaps on Drag Race TV, and I know some of the queens. I know I'm here in LA and everything. So, but you do it from the perspective of a straight guy, and then your fiance's with you, and you guys are hilarious together, and you're like you know your stuff. So okay, so first of all, who introduced you to RuPaul's Drag Race? I mean, it's huge, but like, who introduced you to it?
Oh, Shannon. I would not watch RuPaul's. I would not have watched it without her, because I've told people, like, I remember thinking, I don't know if it was 3-4 years ago, like walking around the mall, someone was talking about like RuPaul's Drag Race Fantasy or whatever. I think I saw it on Twitter. And I'm like, how can a show be this popular? Like, it's because to me, I had no understanding of it. I'm like, it's just drag queens. Like, I don't get it. Like, how do you make a fantasy league out of this? Like, because to me, again, the ignorance in me back then, I'm like, they get dressed up in drag. Like, there's no talent. You dress up in drag, whatever. And then, because I'm like, what can you make this into a league about? And then I also realized that they did it with The Bachelor. Yes. And then I watched it. Love this show. Yes. Oh my God. Like,
and you know your stuff. You know it.
I appreciate you. No, if I watch a show, like I'm gonna watch the show. And Shannon will tell you I'm one of the most competitive people like you'll ever meet. So like I get like that is it's only hammed up a very little bit. Like that's pretty spot on to how I am just in everyday life. Like, because we watched All Stars 5 together, and I had the same exact reactions. Like if something happened, I'm like, no, how did this bitch not go home? Like she and I don't mean it like from a negative place. I'm just just trying to have fun with it.
Actually, you're speaking our language, trust me. And when I was you're speaking our language. So like we talk the same way. Yes, we speak our language. But no, like you do now. So that's what's impressed. Like you aren't just hamming it up, and you aren't just again, you're refreshing. Not some phony shit out there. Just like, okay, now I'm gonna act like I really know the stuff that's going on. Like you actually, I mean, like this person should be top 3. They're not top 3, and then they get top 3. I'm like, oh my God, he does not. Like, he really is following what's going on.
The terminology I'm learning, and I don't understand the fashion very well. That's the one area that I really struggle with, because like Shannon will be like, no, that's chic, like, or that's camp. I'm like, it looks ugly to me. I don't know what that is. It just looks weird. Yes. And I'm slowly learning like what I might find weird that the judges would enjoy, but it's a very, very slow process. And the terminology, it's like
I know
another language to me.
Do you have any gay friends in real life?
Oh yeah. No. I've got my former college classmate who hooked me up with my last job. Whatever. One of my close friends, Theo, is very, very active in the LGBTQIA+ community. My best friend's brother, who I'm, I guess you could say acquaintance friends with, he's a strong advocate in the local community. I was just curious. Because you seem so comfortable. I mean, like, I always feel like your generations, they're getting more comfortable nowadays. Like, they don't really. I'm hearing all these terms I don't even know. I'm like, what's that mean? What does that mean? Like, I'm like an old man now, and I feel like in a way though, I kind of like that. Everything's kind of melding together in the sense that you can just be who you are. I hate labels anyway, number one. Yes. It's funny, like everybody's, if you're a straight guy who likes RuPaul's Drag Race, if you're a gay guy who likes football, why can't you coexist together? Like, why can't it be, who cares, right? Who cares? Even though I live in Los Angeles, I get made fun of because everybody loves the Lakers and everybody loves the Dodgers. I don't watch either of those things. I don't watch basketball or baseball. Yeah. I don't give 2 shits, but everybody gets made, because I'm in LA, I get made fun of by everyone. Doesn't matter what they are, because I don't. As I'm a football fan, I can't help it. From Pittsburgh, I'm a Steeler fan. I can't help it. I don't care about the Rams, but I will go to. Well, once they have the thing, I will go to a game once they actually open stuff up again. Yeah,
I live up by SoFi Stadium. This new stadium is beautiful. I drive by, it's beautiful. Can't go in. The pandemic. Dang it! They built it right by my house. I can walk there. I can't even go to a game.
COVID.
COVID. God dang it.
I was like, can we curse on here? I'm sorry that been cursed.
Yeah, that's fine. I own the network, so we can do whatever you want. I'll talk to the boss. He's a bitch sometimes, but I'll talk to the boss.
I'm just like realizing that now. I'm like, oh my God. Look at this is a PG program.
It's a Wednesday afternoon. Why? What the fuck? We can do that. I don't do a lot of cussing, but every once in a while word comes out. It's fine. So now, okay. So that whole thing is great. I actually want to talk to you about New Pot on the Block, and I want to talk to you about our friend Josh Rodriguez, who's also been on the show for. Many of you know him. Back in the day with me, we were at AfterBuzz TV. That's how we met, was AfterBuzz TV. We hit it off very soon, right? We come from similar ethnic background. My parents from New York. I remember his brother who passed. I had a brother who passed, and we connected. And I think he's a great host. He's an amazing guy. How do you know him, and how long have you known him?
I know Josh because we went to it was called a daycare center, but like we were like 8 and 10 years old, or 7 and 9, somewhere around there. But it was really just like an after school place that like your parents aren't out of work yet, and we need someone to watch and corral all these kids. So that's what it was. So yeah, I was, I think 8 when I got there, 7, 8, somewhere around there. And Josh is 2 years older than me, so he was 9 or 10, and we were little league teammates together for 3 years or 2 years. Kind of lost touch a little bit, but like always follow each other on social media, whatever. And then just slowly over the last 5 years, like we've kind of rekindled like the friendship again. And then like really like the last 3 years, it's been like, hey dude, like when you're back in town, like let's get together. And then one fateful night in January 2019, we came up with, or 18, I don't even know, came up with the idea to do a boy band themed podcast. And Josh pitched the idea, and I'm like, I are you serious? Because I will do this. Like, and then that's how New Pot on the Block got started. It was through the Instagram DMs.
It's a fun podcast, and Josh is another person who's a great ally to the LGBTQI community. He was also with Ross Matthews for years on his show. And I know Ross, and so a lot of the gay community loves Josh. Also, he's a very great advocate and very comfortable with who he is. Also, which is another. I love my straight men who are comfortable with who they are.
I tell Josh this to his face, and I tell this to just people who either listen to the podcast or hear about Josh. He is genuinely one of the best people I have ever met in my life. He just has such a good heart. He's just such a genuinely good person. That like, I'm not just hamming it up because like we're friends with, like, I tell this to him to his face. Like, he's just a good person.
Yeah, well, he knows I love him. So I call him my Laura Romano. No, he is one of the nicest guys. He really is. So New Pod on the Block is fun because tell people what this podcast is.
It is it's the official unofficial boy band themed podcast of the internet. Like it's just two childhood friends, two straight men who love boy bands, and it's going to morph, and we can see it kind of morphing into like more of a 90s podcast. And like, we're going to start talking more. I'm sure we're going to talk more about like Britney, Christina, and like that era of the 90s and whatnot, in season 3. But yeah, it started off as an idea in our Instagram DMs. And then we slowly put it together, and yeah, I personally have a friggin' ball with it. Like it's when we record it, it's just so much fun because like it's one thing to talk about something that you enjoy and that you're very passionate about, but to do it with someone you enjoy, who enjoys the subject matter just as much as you do, like I think that creates gold.
I agree. One of these days, I'm gonna get both of you on this show at the same time, and we're gonna do a whole boy band thing.
I don't know if your audience is ready for that.
I don't think they're ready either, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. It's one of the things I want to do. Now I have a question I'm going to ask you, the boy band-esque, because I do a music show with my friend Jack Farmer. It's called James Lott Jr. is the farmer, Jack Farmer is the DJ.
Okay.
And one of the things we talked about was the definition of a boy band, because I'm a little older, and so when I was growing up, I was told the Beatles started out as a boy band and morphed into something else. I was told that Boys to Men is not a boy band; they're a vocal group. So what does that mean? I mean, like it's so weird. So I'm gonna ask people laughing already. I'm gonna ask you. I'm just kind of curious. Like, what do you view a boy? Like, we know the ones like New Kids on the Block, New Edition, and then later, of course, Boys to Men, all that. I mean, Backstreet Boys, all that, and 90 Degrees. But like, what do you count as a boy band?
It's so glad. I am so glad that you asked this, because just to give you all a spoiler alert, our season 3 episode 1 premiere is going to be the boy band constitution, and we will literally lay out what defines a boy band. Because
wait for the show. We can wait for the show. Then I guess that's for the show.
Because we haven't really discussed because it's. Okay. I will say this: we have had the same debates because we did a big project for season 2. where we tried to find the official, unofficial, greatest boy band song of all time. And we put together like a March Madness style bracket for those of you who are sports fans. And we're sitting there like really trying to find, like, we're ranking songs based on, you know, their peak position and everything else. And one of the big hangups we had was Boyz II Men, because I found a couple of charts or a couple of rankings of the greatest boy band songs of all time, and they did not include Boyz II Men, and then some other groups did. So I'm like, do we include them or do we not? Because they had like 4 number 1 hits or 5 number 1 hits. So I'm like, so if they're a boy band, then we have to rank them high. But if they're not a boy band, then we can't include them at all. So we kind of met somewhere in the middle, and we're like, okay, let's give them all like 8 to 10 rankings, like 8 ranking or 8C, 9C, whatever. And then, you know, people like loved their music and whatnot in the rankings. So we realized afterwards, like, okay, we got to make a decision. Either they're going to be a boy band or they're not, and we have to respect them accordingly. We consider them a boy band because, like, I don't know. I think overall it's a group of guys who are kind of made to like appeal to women for the most part. Like, so even though, yeah, they are probably more of a vocal group, like they're singing songs like "I'll Make Love to You," like, you know, like end of the, like, they're singing to women, like they are trying to seduce like, and that's how I said view them.
Mike, here's the deal. It's so weird because, see, adults like them too, though. So that's the weird thing. It's like grown-ups like them. There were 4 that age, because they're my age. So they're from my age at the time. They came out, they're from me and my girlfriends and friends. But the adults, because their music was so elevated, so to speak, I guess, or it seemed like it was like whatever. And so if I look at groups like Jagged Edge, or I look at groups like 112, I'm like, I guess they could, well, Sean Combs did put Making the Band, so I guess they are a boy. So I'm just like, I'm confused. It's like Jodeci. Like, Jodeci a boy band? I mean, like, I'm like, are they? I mean, it's
all those groups you mentioned, like, and it's another episode we want to do in season 3 is kind of tackling the perception, because so yes, like, what makes a boy band? Like, I think the perception is also that boy bands are stereotypically white.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
And Josh has a guest, like one of his friends that he wants to bring on, like, and we're pretty much going to tackle like the perception of like black groups and like, or you know, whether they are boy bands or what is considered a boy and what the perception is. Cause I feel like it's like, oh no, like Boyz II Men, Jagged Edge, 112, like all those groups you just mentioned, like, no, they're R&B groups. They're vocal groups. They're not boy band. But then like Rolling Stone and Billboard are ranking these songs in the greatest boy band songs. So I'm like, okay, let's see. I can barely carry a tune, and Rolling Stone is saying that Jagged Edge is a boy band. So I should probably defer to them. So yeah, no, these are all debates that we have of like what concept. So I'm looking forward to both of those episodes.
It's funny because with girl groups, they're called girl groups.
Mm-hmm.
So like TLC, Destiny's Child, Danny Kane, all those.
Spice Girls, Salt and Pepper.
So it's kind of sweet. And then Spice Girls, I remember they'd tell people we weren't put together. I was like, we actually put ourselves together. Like some of us met at an audition. We ended up writing, they wrote Wanna Be themselves. No one wrote it for them, they wrote it. So like they wrote a lot of their songs. So it's kind of like, there's that perception of the boy band girl thing that it's manufactured. Everything's done for them. You just come in and you perform.
Yeah.
Which some did, but some didn't. Some actually, I mean, so I know. So, I mean, like All for One, and and I mean all those groups. I mean, I know some of those guys from those groups. I know some of them. And they're like, we're not a boy band. We were a group. All right. I'm like, well, I mean,
I think there's also a stigma attached to it that like it's almost like an insult. Like, no, don't call us a boy band. Like, but that's what you are. Like, I consider the Jonas Brothers to be a boy band. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, so I feel like with like 5SOS and Jonas Brothers, like, oh no, like they play instruments, so they can't be a boy. Like, boy banders don't play instruments. So like Josh and I are really gonna get together one day. We're gonna crack open some Coke and pizza and like really ham out like.
Can't wait.
What makes up a boy, and we will literally draft a boy band constitution. So any group that we discuss in the future, like we'll see, do they pass the test, and that's what we'll use.
I'm very excited
going forward. Yeah,
I'm very excited because I said growing up it was the Beatles, were the Beach Boys a boy band? No, well they kind of were, but they weren't. They were young.
Jackson 5,
Jackson 5. I mean, the Osmonds.
And so that was the other. Like I will say, so New Pond on the Block, we focus on what we call the boy band era. So like 1980, I think we picked 87 because like this year Josh was born until like 2010. Like that's the era we use like for talking about, and we'll lump like BTS in there. Like
so it ends with New Direction. I mean, New Direction.
One Direction, yeah. One Direction, 5SOS, like that.
Okay.
Core, like we just kind of ended like because when we did the official unofficial greatest boy band songs of all time thing, like we didn't include the Jackson 5, we didn't include the Monkees or the Beatles or whatever. Like we said, because I mean, listen, we had an episode debating NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys and who's the greatest boy band of all time. Like, I mean, Jackson 5.
Hello.
They put it like, if we're gonna argue like greatest of all time, they're right up there with them. Like right up there with them. Like, but if you're gonna talk about the boy band era, like what people consider to be a boy band, they think the 90s and early 2000s.
That's true.
No one thinks of the Jackson 5, but like Michael Jackson was 9-10 years old.
Yeah. Well, you're right, but you're totally right about that. And that is the era. And we're talking like the huge era, of course, was 97 to about 2002, 2003. That was a huge, that's when they were selling millions of records. And Pearlman was rich. She was richer than God. You know, he was like just creating all these groups. And funny about Lou Pearlman, he created a group to counter his other group. Like, but they both did really well. So it's kind of like, that's kind of crazy thought process. That's another story.
Well, it's like saying, like, you can put a McDonald's on one side of the street, put another one on the opposite side of the street, and they're both going to do well. Like, it's great. Or you could put a McDonald's and Burger King or something like that. But like, or you put a Coke machine and a Pepsi machine next to each other, they'll both do well. Because now people have a choice.
Here in LA, it's either a Chick-fil-A on one side and an In-N-Out Burger on the other. And they both, the lines are out the door. It doesn't even matter what's going on. The lines are out the door.
Because like the logic is, if you put a Coke machine like outside of somewhere, it's like, do I want a soda? Whereas if you put Coke and Pepsi together, it's like, do I want Coke or Pepsi? You're not thinking, do I want to? So one way or another, someone's going to get that money.
Well, it's funny. I remember the whole triangle effect that Starbucks did at first. There was a Starbucks on every corner from like, they build one here, put one here, and put one there, and they were all busy. So you're like, people just wanted coffee. So they just want to go. So the whole point was, you take 2 steps and there's a place to go. Like, you don't have to think about it.
I mean, I love the fact that like there was a McDonald's like seemingly everywhere. Because when I was a reporter, like they have free Wi-Fi. So if I needed to get from like a high school gym with no Wi-Fi, and I'm like, I need to file my story in the next hour and a half, like I need to find a Starbucks, I need to find a Dunkin' Donuts, or I need to find a McDonald's. Dunkin' Donuts is probably going to be closed. Starbucks is probably going to be closed, but McDonald's will be open, and boom.
Oh my God, when I was in New York all the time, Dwayne Reed was everywhere. I'm like, there was another one that was everywhere. There was a Dwayne Reed everywhere. I was like, cheese and crackers. They had that whole damn thing. Dwayne Reed, of course. You know that.
Dwayne Reed, Jesus.
You know them. They're all now Walgreens at this point or something like that. Okay, so we're going to do a game. It's time for a game.
Oh, yes.
Might do more questions. We're going to break it up into a game. Folks, it's called Either Or. I did this with Flobo Voice last week. We had a good time. And Either Or also includes a Shag, Marry, Kill section. So
I played Shag, Marry, Kill in I don't know that I've ever I don't know. It's been a very, very long time since
it might be your first time. It might be so that comes at the end of the game. So now Either Or, for folks that don't know what this means, I'm gonna name 2 things. You have to pick either or. There's no gray area, just like real life. No.
Okay.
It's all black and white. Life is black and white. That's it. Like me and him. No. And so I'm going to ask him one of these questions. So these are all kind of random, but things that you know about. Here we go. You ready?
Yep.
New York or New Jersey?
Oh God! I grew up in New York and just moved to New Jersey.
I know.
Oh, look at you doing your research. New York.
Of course. Oh, of course. Now you moved in with your fiance, so you guys didn't live together beforehand, right? Now you moved in together, or?
Correct. Yeah, we didn't live together before, and this is our first. This is the first like full week of us living together.
Oh my God! Really, that soon? Really?
Oh, today is what? Today's Wednesday. Our furniture came 2 days ago.
Oh my God, cute! So I can't really ask you how it's going yet because you just moved in during the honeymoon.
I mean, before she before we got engaged, like she was staying 4 or 5 nights a week at my house anyway. So like we were essentially living in together.
That's different though. That is different. You both
you're right,
now
you're
it's both your space. Now it's both your space.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll ask you in a few months.
We cohabitate very, very well. But like you said, ask in a few months. Who knows?
After a few months. Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, I want to give a shout out to
I-
Bleecker Street Pizza on Bleecker Street and 7th Avenue South of the Village.
Hold on, wait. I gotta write this place down. What's it called?
Bleecker Street Pizza. Tony and the guys run there. I love them. My picture might be on the wall too, so you know.
Bleecker Street Pizza
on Bleecker Street and 7th Avenue South in the Village, in the West Village. It's around the corner.
So, fun fact: I am like the pickiest eater you will ever meet in your entire life. Like, I probably eat pizza or pasta like for dinner, like 5-6 days out of the week. Yes. So it's like, God, you're picking like, but I can eat pizza every single day. I know that. I can't eat pasta every day. I love pasta, but like
I can't either. Yeah, no.
If I go like 3 days in a row, I'm like, okay, just get the ronzoni away from me. I can't do it. But like pizza, time you might make me want to go get pizza after this interview.
Your mouth is watering already. He's like,
call Shanny Q, be like, damn it, James asked me about pizza. I'm getting freaking pizza tonight.
I love it. That's why I asked, but you are Italian, right?
Oh yeah, full blooded. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked. Okay, here we go. This one's very important. I was going to wear my Spice Girl shirt at first, but I decided to wear my Buffy instead. Ginger Spice or Baby Spice?
Baby. I had the huge. So I begged my mom to go see Spice World.
Yes.
And I think my mom probably thought, like, when I was younger, she's like, "Oh, our son's gonna be gay." Like I could see her thinking that, but like, I'm like, no, I'm Baby Spice. Like that, all of that, the blonde hair, the pigtails.
Exactly. I think so.
Oh my God.
Like, here's the thing. So Mike Zacchio, I always said I knew why my straight male friends liked them, because they were hot. Yes. There was one for everyone. There was a different one for everybody. And I was into redheads, so I was always a ginger fan. But it's like, but I always thought there's something for everybody. And I thought some of the characters they're playing are considered hot. And Baby Spice for sure. That whole look, I'm like, I totally get why a straight guy would be like, get a hard one for her, so to speak. I totally get it. Like, I totally get it. So I see why people like it. I mean, that's what they wanted the guys to like them also, and the girls. So I don't.
Well, because like Posh is the high maintenance like beauty type. Baby Spice is the good wholesome girl, whatever, and Ginger's like the wild sexy one. Like, so yeah, that's what I also loved. Like, and I appreciate the Spice Girls. Like, they're like, listen, we are 5 different bitches. Like, this is who we are.
That's right. So, I love that.
More power to you girls.
Okay, here's another one for you. JC Chazé or Lance Bass?
JC. I love Lance. He's commented on our TikTok. Like, I know he has. I'm dying to get him on our podcast. Like, so Lance, if you're listening to this, please, we would love to have you on. But like JC, one, because like we felt like JC was done dirty. Like, Lance had a role in NSYNC. He was the bass. The bass is not the popular one. It's just not. Like, JC, I felt like everyone was just like, oh, Justin Timberlake. JC was the best vocalist in that group. Like, let's not get it twisted. And his label did him dirty when he went solo. And Duke can dance, Duke can sing. Like, he was just as good looking as Justin Timberlake in terms of like, sex appeal or whatever. So like, I don't know where like, I don't know how Justin broke out that much, but yeah, JC deserved better. Justice for JC.
Well, you know why? Because the universe chose Justin, and when the powers that be choose, that's why he got promoted out. JC had a couple of dance songs I liked. He did with this guy named BT and stuff that I realized should be DJ back in the day. And he did a couple of songs. I'm like, they're really good. Like, why aren't they bigger? Like, I don't understand. Like, his voice is really great. Then he had that TV show on MTV for a while, that competition show. He was a judge.
Oh God, yeah.
With Little Mama and one of the guys who I think he raped somebody on somebody on that show. One of the hosts got in trouble.
Was that So You Think You Can Dance?
No, but it was the one with the Jabberwockies one. It was American. Oh my God, with Mario Lopez. That was it. It was American. It was ACDC or AC. It was like
oh my God, America's Best Dance Crew.
Yeah, thank you. I used to love that show. I liked it every season. I used to watch it, but he was good on there too. And I was like, I don't know why they didn't make him. He didn't get bigger. I wonder if it's the bad management. Is it just?
I mean, Josh and I go ham on that. Like, so if you think JC deserved more love, you should really listen to New Pod on the Block, because we very much tried to show JC all the love his label never did.
Yes, there you go. Okay, they're cousins in real life, but
Mandy Moore,
Brian Luttrell or Kevin Richardson.
Wait, they're cousins?
Mm-hmm. Real life. You didn't know her. You didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Oh God, I don't. Oh, I will keep my tongue closed for this answer, but Kevin Richardson.
Oh, okay, very interesting. Interessante. Okay.
Certain things about Brian I don't agree with, but
okay, got it. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Let's go. Oh yeah. Okay, I got that. Let me sip my tea for a second, kid. I forgot about that. I got it. You're right. Okay, you're right. I don't think I was like Chris. I forgot all about that. Okay.
Tell me you're not a Brian Luttrell fan without telling me you're not a Brian Luttrell fan.
Exactly. It's like, oh, okay, got it. Okay.
But prior to this year, I would have picked Brian.
Okay. I will agree with you on that. Okay, here's one. And I've been in both many times. East Coast summer or East Coast winter?
Summer. Oh my God, summer. Summer's the best. Is like the best season. Like.
You with the humidity? You're okay.
Yeah, because you can go to listen. You can get an AC. You can jump in a pool. Whatever. Throw some water on your face. Stick your head in a refrigerator or your freezer. Take a cold shower. Whatever. Like, but like I think that the East Coast winters are very overrated because like you see these Hallmark movies or whatever.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Oh my God, a winter in New York City looks so beautiful. I'm like, have you ever been to New York City during the winter? Like that picturesque scene. Yes. Happens at 3:00 in the morning for like a half an hour, one day out of every 2 years. Like it's sludge and like dirty, or slush. It's it's disgusting and it's inconvenient. So
yeah, I agree.
Stay in the summer.
I agree. Okay, Mike Zacchio, you have to choose either or. I'm almost scared to ask you this question.
I'm afraid to answer.
Oh my God. Turn Up My Heart or Larger Than Life?
Tearing Up My Heart. Not hard at all. Not hard at all. Tearing Up My Heart is a bop. Oh my God, it's so good. I love both those songs. I think Larger Than Life is overrated. It's okay. Like, but I mean, Tearing Up My Heart is that like nobody's losing their shit to Larger Than Life coming on. Like when you hear like those boys like true. JC sing It's Tearing Up My Heart in a club.
Yeah, that's true. See, I'm gonna say something controversial. I think Backstreet's Back is overrated, but that's another story.
Oh, everybody? Like the song Everybody Backstreet's Back?
Yes,
like, yeah, that's not an unpopular opinion. A lot of people feel that way. I thought that might go to the final four in our in our bracket thing, but no. Interesting.
I think I already know the answer to this one because you mentioned earlier Shania Twain or Celine Dion. I think I already know.
Oh, you're killing me. This is the hardest one.
I've seen them both in concert. They both are amazing.
So, and are we going? Oh my God!
It's either or. It's like hard choices, Mike.
I know.
It's a cut one.
Celine Dion.
I had a feeling you did that, but Shania
Twain is she's phenomenal vocally. She is sexy as all hell.
Hot, yes.
But like Celine Dion, I think is one of the most vocally talented singers of definitely my generation. I think people do not really respect how much talent she has. And also, I had a little crush on Celine Dion growing up. Like,
well, Celine is, which is interesting. Not people say they were crush on her. They said he loved her music. It's very interesting.
Oh yeah, no, I get down with the long, lanky, big nose type. Yeah. Shannon's gonna kill me when she hears this.
I love it. Shannon, don't kill him, Shannon. We love him. Don't kill him.
We haven't even gotten to the Shag Marry Kill.
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
Digging my grave deeper.
No, but I would say with Celine Dion, her voice, she sings effortlessly. It just seems out of her, and she has. So my favorite singer of all time is Barbra Streisand.
Okay.
Go Brooklyn. And they did a song together called "Tell Him." And I just thought she held her own with Barbara. Barbara showed her I'm still a good bitch to her. And that song is my favorite songs. And I'm just like, there's nobody, the next voice after that might be Christina. I guess I'll give it to her. Or Ariana Grande. Those are like the next generations of ones. But it's like Barbra Streisand, Celine Dion. And then of course, Whitney Houston are a little different. But I would say I would go with those two. It's about like a direct lineage. I feel like those are two.
So you want to hear an uncontroversial opinion? I would. I would put Celine Dion above Mariah Carey. I would have Whitney 1 and Celine 2, probably.
God, Mariah has the voice though. She has the 5-octave range.
Yeah. I don't know. I really, really like Mariah Carey. Like, it's just, I don't know, maybe as I'm getting older, like, and I'm starting to appreciate music a little bit more, like, I just sit there and think about like everything like Celine has done. And I'm just like, some of the notes that she hits and just the power in her voice is just like, it's breathtaking.
So can Mariah. Especially early albums. I mean, she did some good stuff. Those early albums, she did that. I can't do it.
The whistle note and everything.
Yes. And even with We Belong Together, that's the holds that note at the end. I mean, I kind of like, I mean, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
They're all
yeah.
And she yells it. I mean, they well, Whitney, of course, I Will Always Love You. That's Pitch Perfect song. That song is pitch perfect. Yeah. That whole song, The Greatest Love of All, Didn't We Almost Have It? All those songs. I mean, she had a voice. They all had the voice.
Yeah.
But I give Christina props too. She has a great voice also. I feel like she's the next generation after them. She's like the next group. But honestly, it's controversial. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I disprove it or not, or I don't know if I like it. I don't even know.
I think at the very least, she should be in the conversation more. I feel like so many people just talk about, Mariah Whitney. I'm like, can we throw Celine Dion's hat into the ring? Like, can we show her some respect?
The charts wise in the 90s, Celine was one of the biggest selling artists of the night. I mean, Shania Twain was the biggest selling female, but she was the next one after her in terms of sales. I mean, so she should be mentioned more. I mean, Celine was huge.
Yeah.
Celine was, when he did that whole, I mean, you were a kid at the time, but VH1 actually had videos and things. VH1 did the whole VH1 Divas for Aretha Franklin, and they invited Whitney, Celine. I mean, she was one of them. They invited them to come to sing it. And it's like, yeah, why is about Celine more? Like, she really, I mean, that Titanic song was everywhere. And
I feel like so many people just know Celine Dion for that. Like, oh yeah, no, she sang the Titanic song. I'm like, yeah, but have you like listened to other music of hers? Right. Like,
Right. What's funny is a little fact for you guys out there. I think it was the year Titanic came out. She had 3 albums that were selling around the world every 30 seconds. She was the biggest selling artist of that year. Jesus. She was helping sell the Titanic soundtrack because the song was on there. Mm-hmm. Her own album that had a Titanic song on there, and an album before that with Because You Love Me and all that stuff. So there's these 3 albums that were selling continuously. So every 30 seconds she was selling a record. That's how big she was.
That's insane.
That is insane. That's crazy. All over the world. Okay, here's one. We're going old school. Okay. Jordan Knight or Mark Wahlberg?
Jordan Knight. Wait. Do you mean Mark Wahlberg or Donnie Wahlberg?
No, I meant Donnie.
Okay, because I'm like Mark Wahlberg.
No, yeah,
he's an actor.
I meant Donnie.
Jordan. Josh knows I've got like a soft spot for Jordan Knight because I feel like he didn't get the love that he really deserved, but like that dude can dance his ass off. Like he was an entertainer. I don't think he had the same level of talent that Justin Timberlake had, but like they were similar in that like watching New Kids on the Block and watching NSYNC, even though Jordan sang like most of the lead vocals there, like you just watch the two of them and you're like stars. Like JC, I didn't watch JC and think star. I just thought like he's really, 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 really good. But like no one else in New Kids on the Block like jumped out at me like that. I love Donnie. Like I think he's insanely talented. Another guy I would kill to have on the show. I would probably want to have him on the show more than Jordan, just because I think he has such a wider range of things. Like
all kind of stuff going on. You can talk to him about.
Fun. I'm showing my age here, but like I knew Donnie Wahlberg from Saw. Like I didn't even like I just knew him as Eric Matthews, whatever. And then like someone's like, "Oh, that's Mark Wahlberg's brother." I'm like, that blew my mind. And then when I saw like New Kids on the Block, whatever, I saw like a music video. I'm like, that guy looks like the guy from Saw, and I'm like, this motherfucker was in New Kids on the Block, so. And then I watched Blue Bloods and loved him in that. So yeah, Donnie Wahlberg, Lance Bass, anybody from any boy band, hit us up, please.
Hit him up. Get on there. Okay, night owl or morning person?
I'm a night owl. I hate the morning, which is ironic because I'm pursuing my master's to become a teacher now. But I also think I can alter my schedule. But like for right now, I'm most definitely a night owl.
How late would you on average stay up?
On average, like 1.
Okay.
like that's like a normal like crash time. Like it's going down now because as Shannon calls herself a self-described, I'm a sleepy bitch. So like she's in bed like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever, and that will bring my time down, which is good because it's better for me to be going to bed at like 10, 11 and not 1, 2 for no reason. But yeah, I'm a night owl.
I love it. Bobby Brown or Ralph Tresvant for New Edition? The deep cut.
I know everyone knows Ralph's voice from New Edition because he just had that high ass voice.
Yes.
But I also love My Prerogative.
Oh, of course, yeah.
If we're just talking about New Edition, I go Ralph. If we're talking about them overall, I go Bobby Brown.
So I guess your answer is Bobby Brown. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
See, now My Prerogative stuck in my head now.
I did. That's like that. Well, I'm giving you another earworm right now. Oops, I Did It Again or Toxic?
Oops, I Did It Again. I think Toxic's overrated. That's just me.
What?
Like, again, so I will say before people come at me, when I say things are overrated, whether that's on TikTok, whether that's on our podcast, whether it's on this show, that does not mean I don't like it. That just means I think that people think it's better than it is. Like, I think The Office is overrated. I really like The Office. I just don't think it's the greatest show that's ever been put on television. So I like Toxic. It's a bop. Love the little like, like, yeah, love it. But like, Oops, I Did It Again is just on a completely other level. We literally just watched the Britney documentary last night.
I gotta watch it. Oh my God, I gotta watch it.
I was gonna text Josh today, and I've been running errands, and then I had 2 interviews, and then but I'm gonna text him back for season 3. We need to do like a breakdown of the Britney documentary. Like, we're gonna watch it and we're gonna give our thoughts on it, and like that's gonna be an episode. So
everybody's talking about. I gotta watch. I've always been a Britney fan. My mother and I both, we love Britney Spears, and the things we're hearing, I'm like, it's very interesting. It's a fascinating story.
The New York Times did a phenomenal job with it, like an exceptional job. Like, you really, really feel for her, and you see just how shitty like she was treated.
She's almost 40 years old. It's like she's
I know. Free Britney.
Free Britney. Free Britney. Okay. I guess it's either or. It's the last question of either or. Sports or music?
Music. I can live without sports. I can't live without music.
Yeah, same here. I'm gonna do that. Okay. Here is your Shag, Marry, Kill girl group edition. Now, folks out there, if you know what this means, shag is a British term for fucking, or we just say shag, would be nice. Marry, kill. Now, of course, you never want to kill anybody for real. It's a game. I'm sure I say that. It's a game. It just means you're getting rid of them. But you're going to shag one, you're going to group, you're going to marry one, you're going to kill. Hey, Mike Zacchio, you ready?
I'm ready.
Danny Kane, Fifth Harmony, the Pussycat Dolls.
Yeah, so let me just DK.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fifth Harmony and Pussycat Dolls.
Yes. I love it.
Okay. I think I got this. I think I got this. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna shag the Pussycat Dolls.
Okay, that's okay.
Marry Fifth Harmony and kill DK. Danny Kane is just way too toxic. I want none of that negativity in my life. None.
That's
PCD.
That's a great reason. That's a great reason. I have to say.
I think way too much into like I take these things very, very seriously.
That's a good answer. I love that reason. I mean, it was very lots of drama in that group right now. But like,
some people are like, "Oh, this is just a fun game for the podcast." Like, no, I'm really gonna like put thought into this. Like, who would I shag?
Great answer. I like that. I do like that. I like that. Okay, so I want to go into. You said you did a resolution thing on your TikTok at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to ask you, because you said you want to be held accountable. The year's only a month or so into the year, a month and a half into the year. God, a month and a half into the year. Geez.
I know.
Go fast. Have you sought therapy?
Not yet. And I will say, just because like a couple of days after making that video, we got the word that we were going to be moving. So it's like, that's been like the focus of like, okay, you got to pack up 20 years of life and everything and get everything in place. It is still a very top priority. I also don't have health insurance at the time right now. So like,
But
but
you
no,
mentioned about having anxiety. You mentioned about having anxiety. So do you have problems with anxiety?
I like, so I'm not diagnosed or anything, but like from everyone who I know is diagnosed with anxiety and from everything that like, the TikTok therapists, whatever, like, yeah, if you have this, if you have this, if you have this, like, yeah, you have either anxiety or high functioning anxiety. Like I think absolutely. I don't think it's, a question. I'm just not diagnosed. Um, but yeah, but
How does it manifest? How do you know when you have it? How do you know?
because I'll I think one way that I was is in procrastination. Like I'll sit there and think like I want things to be perfect and whatever. And then like I just psych myself out and then I just don't do it. Or I'll just like I'll build stuff up and then I'm like, oh, what, people don't like it, or what if I make the wrong decision, and then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, well then I just don't do it. Like, and that's just and that's just one area. Like I'm sure that there are other ways that it manifests. And I'm just trying to think of like other, like I don't think I have any triggers.
But people who are watching, I just want to make sure that you're just. That's a great example. I'm just saying, I'm people to give an example. Like what is people like anxiety? You mean when you just get a little nervous about something? Like it's more than that, right? It's more than that.
Yeah.
I've had anxiety attacks. They're not fun. I never had one until about a couple of years ago for the first time. And I was like, that's what that feels like. I had never had one of mine. I had heard about them. I'm a former nurse. I used to deal with that kind of stuff. But I never had it myself until a few years ago. And I was like, ooh, I don't like that. That's like, I mean, I've had some sense of here and there. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. So I just want people to hear when you say that you're not just saying like, I just felt nervous about tomorrow. Like it's just it's more, it's something ingrained that's happening that you get triggered by.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'll have like, there are some like nights where I'll just kind of go down the rabbit hole of like what happens like when we pass away, and like, what's your like legacy going to be like, and like, do people like me, and what's like, and then all of a sudden I'll just like have like a low key like panic attack, and I'm like, I'll start hyperventilating, and I'm like, okay, I need to like turn the lights on or whatever, like I need to get out of this headspace immediately. And that's not a fun feeling.
So what do you do right now? So you said turning lights on sometimes, just the music.
I'll either wake myself up, like not try to fall asleep with that being the last thought on my mind or whatever. Either I'll get up and walk around, or I'll like go on social media and try to watch something that's more uplifting, and just really kind of get my mind off of it. But like, and thankfully I don't really have them when I'm with Shannon. They would always happen when I was alone, because I would just feel like alone. I'm like, okay, this is what's on my mind. Whereas if I'm with Shannon, I could just be like, okay, like I don't like those thoughts also just don't enter my head.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of times, I feel all the time that I do a late night show on IG, and I started at the beginning of the pandemic because I said the nighttime is, I want to say the right time, right? It's the nighttime is where the city gets quieter and your thoughts get louder. I always say. And so I say, I'll come on. I said, well, the pandemic, I know was going to happen this whole year. I said, I'll come on every night around 10 o'clock. And if you're feeling some laughs or some conversation, join me and we'll talk. It becomes a little community that I do. It's called Talk a Lot with James Lott Jr. We do it all the time. And again, I didn't realize it was going to happen. I'm still doing it a year. I did 125 episodes so far. I know, fucking stupid. But I've had some therapists on. We've had people come on. We laugh, we joke, we talk about life. I make drinks, I cut my hair, I do all kinds of stuff on air. But because I know, and people tell me it's because at nighttime your thoughts start to race. And why, when you go to sleep, you don't want to go to sleep with those emotions. You want to have good sleep. You want to have good sleep. So everybody's just going to join me. We'll have some fun. So I get what you're saying. At nighttime when you're alone, especially during this pandemic, especially. I mean, there's several nights I had panic attacks. Just like, there was this wing. Like there was a time when I had no job because everything shut down in LA. I was like, there's no job. And I felt so anxiety. We're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And it was at nighttime. Daytime, you're busy doing stuff. You're moving stuff around. It's when you stop moving.
And everything in this pandemic just feels like Groundhog Day. It's just like there's, at least for like, I got laid off in April. It just felt like there's nothing to look forward to tomorrow. Like, that's not to say like I'm having like, negative thoughts about like, any self-harm or whatever, but like, it's just like, oh, tomorrow's Thursday. Still unemployed. Like,
right.
What am I going to do? Clean the apartment again? Vacuum again? Listen to music again? Like watch the same Netflix? Like, but I think when you have a normal life, it's like, oh, I'm going to I'm gonna go out and do this tomorrow. I'm gonna go on this road trip tomorrow. I'm gonna see, Joey tomorrow, whatever. Yeah.
Like that. You are engaged. So
Yes.
Miss Shauna Q, we love her. So right now, what does that even look like in terms of, because the world is so crazy. So my daughter got married last year in a very
Okay.
small, not in a, she couldn't go anywhere. Everything canceled. We had it planned. Everything got canceled. We found a lake somewhere. People showed up. It was very strange. So I have friends who are waiting. They're saying we're just going to wait for a while and see what happens. What are you guys going to do? You think?
So we were supposed to be getting married in April, and we wound up postponing. I think in December we wound up postponing. Now it's going to be next February, which we know is the right move. Like, but it does not take away from the feeling of like, fuck, we gotta wait again. Like, I mean, we were already engaged for I think like a year and a half. That it's like, so we got engaged 21st night of September on 2019.
Oh, how funny is that? Okay, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Mm-hmm.
And so what it's gonna be like almost 3 years being
Yeah.
engaged or something like that. It's just like, and I understand that like I'm committing the rest of my life to her. So what does more time matter in terms of like getting married? It's just, I don't know. She's very traditional. We're both traditional in that regard of like, we don't like, we want to wait until we're set to have kids and everything, but something about like being married makes it feel a little bit more right, I guess. I don't know.
I get it. Like that.
But yeah, it's just, and this pandemic just, because also it's, now that it's been postponed, I just think like, who's to say next February is going to be fine? Like when this all hit, I thought this is going to be over in a couple of months, in a couple of weeks.
Right.
I'm like, oh, but this happens mid-March. Like we shut down mid-March. I'm like, my birthday's mid-April. I'm like, we'll be back to work at the end of April, maybe early May if we're really lucky. And then just kept expanding, extending. And now I'm like, who knows, So
I know. I really thought, because I remember I had to go see my granddaughter for her birthday end of March, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll see you in a few weeks. Well, we're gonna work it out. And then LA shut down through, at the time it was like for a month. My birthday is Mother's Day in May, and I was like, okay, my Mother's Day should be back to normal. It was the worst birthday ever. Everything was shut down, couldn't do nothing. Like you might, you know how it was. You're April. You know exactly what. There's nothing to do. Nothing to do.
We did a virtual happy hour. Like
we did too. I couldn't see anybody in person. I usually plan my birthdays and planning kind of. I mean, that was not. So yeah, you know exactly how it was. Early in the pandemic, it was all of us who had birthdays then. It should just get a redo because it was completely not what I wanted.
That just means the next birthday, that the first public birthday we are allowed to have, we just need to do twice as hard. That's all that means.
Like, I'm getting too old, Mike. If this thing lasts any longer, I don't want to be still alive. Shit, I don't want. I'll be 52 years old soon. I'll be 80 years old. Trying a big birthday. I don't want to do all that. He has 2 books out, of course, and he also our person. He talks about relationships. You guys want relationships, so
I do.
So I mean, why you relationships? Why should we listen to you?
That's a phenomenal question. I like to think I have a good array of dating experiences, and I don't know. I'm weird in that like I really overanalyze situations. Like I don't just sit there and go through a relationship like, oh yeah, no, I was with this person for a little bit and then like it is what it is. Like I really try to look at, what are we doing here? Like, what is working in this relationship? What's not working? When things end, I like trying to have closure and try to understand what went wrong, like why it went wrong, whatever. And yeah, I've had the like Ted Mosby, I'm looking for love. I'm going to find my soulmate mindset. I've had the like, I am going to be a man whore, like, and that's what I'm going to do. And it's because like I had people it's like some of the same people in my life, like yelling at me, like, you just sit there and you look for a wife. Like, you're never going to find someone like that. Just have fun. And then I have fun. It's like, well, you're having too much fun. Like and it's like, what do you want me to do? Like, you tell me, I'll put you in control of my love life. No, so I've had a lot of different experiences, and I'm usually the guy that a lot of friends will come to about advice. So I have their experiences to draw on. So like someone might have an experience with getting cheated on, which, I have thankfully never gone through. But if one of my best friends did, and like they were very detailed about it, like, hey, I didn't go through, but when my friend did, this is what helped her get through it or helped him get through it. And this is what they felt or whatever. And yeah, and I'm I like to think that I'm compassionate. Like I want to hear what you're going through, and I genuinely want to help you feel better. Like I don't want people hurting. I don't want them feeling any kind of sadness. I definitely don't want them feeling like they're difficult to love or that they are unworthy of love. I want to inspire them to like get out there and find the person they're meant to be with.
There are a lot of broken people out there, a lot of broken adults that have very low self-esteem on themselves. And I'm talking ones that are good. We look at them and go, they're so good looking, they're so this. That means nothing. Hearing voices in your head from somebody telling you something or reading something, that has an effect on you. You can look like whatever you want. And everybody can think you're the hottest girl in school, but it doesn't matter when you don't get asked out for a date to the prom because everybody thinks you already have a date.
Mm-hmm.
So no one asks you out. So you're like, no one likes me. And so there's this weird thing that can happen when it comes to mental blocks when it comes to relationships and love. I totally agree with that. So I think that's good. You give people your advice that are in your age group. They can listen to you and say, Mike said, and he's engaged. So what makes Shannon different? Why is she the
yeah, and in the interview before someone like asked me that, I'm like, wow, like this, like for me, because I've dated girls who I've cared very deeply about. I've dated girls who I think I've even loved, but I never had that. Like, and I've had girls like where I'm like, I can see myself like marrying her, maybe like I could see her being the one, maybe, but I've never had that she is the one feeling until Shannon. And because the question I always kept coming back to is, would I take a bullet for this person? And I never had an answer. I never had a yes answer to that until Shannon. And that's when I was like, I mean, I knew I wanted like to spend the rest of my life with her. Like, but it wasn't until I'm like, yeah, no, I would take a bullet for this person. Then I'm like, okay, now's the time to like actually pop the question. Because I feel like if you're not willing to take a bullet for your partner, you shouldn't be with, like, you shouldn't marry them. Like, if you're going to make that like lifelong commitment to each other, I'm like, not saying everyone needs to get married, but if you want to go the marriage route, I think you should think long and hard about what you're getting into.
I agree. I always said the ones I didn't know real love until I felt where I cared about them a lot more than just what was my thoughts. And what do I want? I thought about what did they want? What would I do that would affect us, the whole team? It's like once I realized that a serious relationship is a team, then that's when I learned what love really was.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing. So that's how I learned it. So
a big thing that like kind of I don't know how I also kind of proved how Shannon was the one was like my mom always told me once at least, like I feel like you're putting too much into your relationship. Like you do too much for these girls. Like you're putting in too much effort and you're not getting that same effort back. And I don't want to see that kind of thing. And even though it's a hard pill to swallow in the moment of that conversation, I'm stepping away from it. I'm like, damn, like she's right. Like, but to me, it was always just like, but like, I'm just willing to try. Like I'm that's just the type of person I am. And it wasn't until I got older where I'm like, no, like you need to be putting in the same energy that I'm putting in. Otherwise I'm not sticking around for this, whatever. And Shannon, if she doesn't match my energy, she surpasses it because there are things that like no girls even remotely come close to doing for me that Shannon does. Like I mentioned in passing once that like I've always wanted to go to a sock hop, like a Grease themed 1950s like party thing, and she planned like a sock hop themed birthday for my 30th.
Oh wow, okay.
I mentioned in passing that like I've always wanted to see Michael Bublé in concert. As part of my 30th birthday, she got me Michael Bublé tickets, and I'm like,
so she listens.
yes, and it's like and I've told her many times like I'm not a like my love language is like gifts is like in below the basement in storage. Like I'm not a monetary person. Like you can give me something that is truly meaningful or that I want, and that will mean more to me. Like she got me a watch because I told her like I was looking for a watch. She's like, oh, I was thinking about getting you this $900 watch, and I'm like, no, I don't wear watches that often. Like I was gonna get like just a nice $100 watch or something like that for myself, but yeah, no, I don't need you to break the bank on me. Just show that you care. Like the sock hop themed birthday of just like putting on streamers and her dressing up as Sandy from Grease.
There you go. Okay. Sorry about
like that was enough for me. Like that was enough. And then the Bublé tickets were just like the icing on the cake.
He's good. He's so good. I just watched him in the David Foster documentary on Netflix years now. It's a really good documentary, folks. David Foster's not a likable person, but it's the talent Celine Dion's in it. The talent they worked with It's I think he gets everybody comes back for this documentary from Barbara Streisand, Celine Dion, Michael Bublé, Josh Groban. They all talk about him. So it's a fun documentary. If you want to catch that on Netflix, you should catch that. I watched that one and Quincy. Those are the two I watched back to back, and I love Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones,
another great one. Mike Zacchio, I can talk to you forever. I am in love with you, and I am just tell your fiance I'm in love with you. It's fine. It's whatever. I'll share you. It's fine. She gets you first. But no, you are amazing, and you are somebody that I'm excited to see actually continue to grow. I mean, I think education should not stop as long as you're alive. Education continues to going and going and going and going. And I see it going back to school. Congratulations. That's like great. I went back to school later. I'll tell you, it changed my life. Do it. You'll just the satisfaction of completing that, whether you do anything with it or not, just it's going to be great for you. You're gonna love it. And continue doing all this stuff too. You're a great personality. So keep it up and keep those TikTok videos coming. The ones you want to do, keep doing them. I will continue watching them and laughing and cheering you on. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you for having me, James. I appreciate you.
And I said, one of these days, I'm getting you and Josh on at the same time. We're going to talk all things.
Time, date, place. Yes. I'm there. We'll group text Josh after this and we'll figure it out.
That's what we'll do. And everybody in chat room, thanks for watching and saying thank you to Mike. Thank you guys, Adrienne and Kirsten, all you guys. Thanks for watching us on this mid-afternoon, late afternoon for him, mid-afternoon for me in California. Mike, tell them this is your chance. Tell them where you can follow you all over the place.
So I am on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Mike, MIKE _ Zacchio, ZACCHIO. And then our New Pod on the Block podcast is on TikTok and Instagram at New Pod on the Block. And we're on pretty much every podcast platform that you could think of. So give it a listen. If you like it, leave a like and review, and we appreciate you.
Yes. And you can follow me. We're all James Lott Jr. sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms, including TikTok also. And then you can follow JLJ Media, my online network that I started last year on YouTube. That's JLJ, which is James Lott Jr. And of course, the audio version of this is on every streaming service you can think of. Just go wherever you like let's listen to your podcast. Go there, find JLJ Media or Extra Connections, and just go there and do that. And Extra Connections show is on Facebook's page. Thank you, everybody, for watching us today. Please be safe, be careful, listen to some boy bands or girl bands, and have love in your life. Bye.